everybody, Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and InkNuvo.com. We just got in several new ink brands at Goulet Pens. This is coming towards the end of June of 2011 here. So I wanted to kind of share with you my first impressions. I just did the swabs of all the colors. I haven't inked them up yet, so I don't have any experience with how well they flow or anything like that, but I can at least give you my general impression and maybe show you some of the swabs, introduce you to the bottles, especially because some of these brands we're carrying are not so well known. So I'm going to start off here. I'm going to kick it off with Omas. Omas is a nice high-end pen company. They have 8 different inks that are all kind of nice. They have, let's see here, Omas Gray is the first one. Not a very saturated color, very kind of a light gray. It's going to be kind of hit or miss as to how readable it's going to be in the pen. So we'll have to see about that one. Omas Black. This is a nice black. Not too dark, not the blackest black you'll ever see in your life, but still pretty good. Omas Blue. Now this one is the home run for me out of this brand. Nice deep dark blue, not quite as dark as a blue black. I wouldn't really call it a blue black, it's just a really, really dark, like midnight blue. That's a really nice color. Omas Red, this one is really disappointing to me. It's kind of like platinum red. It's just like a rosy, really unsaturated, kind of gross color. I'm not a fan. Omas Green, this one's like borderline to me. I can't decide if I like it or not. I don't know, we'll have to see. It's just not quite dark enough for what I was hoping it would be. Omas Sepia, now this one's really nice. It's not a really yellow brown, it's a pretty solid brown, really nice, not a lot of red to it. I think it's going to be good. Omas Turquoise, this one reminds me a lot of Lamy Turquoise. Really nice color, a lot of good shading, even with a swab. And then last in the Omas family we have Violet. Nice, pretty good solid purple. Not overly bright. I think it's going to be a good purple. So that takes care of Omas. The next one we have is Aurora. Now this is one that a lot of people have been asking about. They only have 2 colors, but really good. So there's, like I said, 2 colors. There's Aurora Black, which writes extremely wet and is very, very dark. And then there is Aurora Blue, which is pretty well saturated. It's got a little bit of a purple tint to it, so kind of in that family. And then the next brand we have is Montegrappa. This comes out of Italy. Really nice looking bottles here. The colors, let's see here. We start out with Montegrappa Turquoise. This one is just a little bit pale for my taste. If you like the Lamy Turquoise or the Omas but don't want something quite that saturated, this one might work for you. Montegrappa Blue. This reminds me a lot of like a Diamond Sapphire or maybe a Pelican, blue. I don't know. It's really kind of a purpley blue if you like that. Montegrappa Bordeaux. This one is really kind of nice. Nice wine color. It looks a lot like the old discontinued Schaefer Script Burgundy if you like that color. That one's pretty nice. And then Montegrappa Black. It's a black with just a little bit of a gray to it, almost a little bit of red too, believe it or not. So interesting, not as dark as the Aurora or the Omas. And then the last one that we have is a little tiny bottle called Online. A little 15 ml bottle, tiny little thing. They have several different colors. They have Royal Blue, which is kind of a periwinkle, purpley blue. So that may work for you. Not incredibly saturated in color. Online Brown, this one is very well saturated, very dark, got a reddish tone to it. Online Lilac, this is very bright purple, like a Diamond Deep Magenta or maybe a Jeroboam Rose Cyclamen. That one's pretty nice. Online Reuben Red, this one is just not quite there for me. It's a little too pink. I like my reds darker, but you may like that one. Online Smaragd, which is emerald. This is a pretty dark green. I think this one is probably my favorite out of the bunch. This is kind of more what I was hoping for from the Omas green, but a nice little color there. Now, one thing I did want to talk about is the size of these bottles. I'm kind of surprised because all the bottles, despite Omas and Aurora having a little bit higher milliliter count, is the size of the bottles. Here's a bottle of like Pilot Iroshizuku. Okay, gorgeous bottle, very popular ink. A lot of you are familiar with this bottle. Let's see here, I'll go with Omas and compare it to it. The Omas bottle seems quite a bit smaller, even though the Omas is actually more ink. This is 62 milliliters and the Konpeki is 50. So even though it holds more ink, the bottle's quite a bit smaller. Aurora as well is 45 milliliters. Quite a bit smaller, it seems. Online is only 15 milliliters, and that bottle just seems tiny compared to the Iroshizuku. Tiny, tiny, tiny little thing. And then Montegrappa is, shoot, I forget. I want to say 42 milliliters. There you go. So all the bottles are on the smaller side, but they're pretty nice. The online one is the cheapest of the bunch, and it kind of seems a little cheap, and you're not really getting a ton of ink, so these ones will be kind of questionable. But the inks do seem to be pretty good. All in all, I'm excited to try out these inks. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an introduction because I just did the swabs. I'm going to scan them all, adjust them, do the adding them to the Swab Shop and all that, so you'll be able to compare them to the other inks that we have on the Swab Shop. We're now over 350, probably close to 400 inks with all the calligraphy ones at this point on the Swab Shop. But anyway, hopefully that'll help you out. I just got excited and wanted to give you an introduction into what these are like. So if you have any questions, you can always email me at brian@gouletpens.com. Thanks a lot, and right on.